So welcome. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Lynn, for the opportunity, and let's explore Mexico together. I didn't believe Lynn when she told me that it was going to be snowy, and it was snowy the past 3 times, so we'll see if I can show you sunny Mexico. So I am Lorena, as Lynn said. I am Mexican. I was born and raised in Mexico City most of my life, but something that I told Lynn is that I really love a lot to travel and to meet people, and that is why I chose to do this right now. What I want to do here is to share with you a couple of ideas about Mexico, the traditions, the culture, the folklore, and beautiful places that you might not know about my country. So this is actually a picture of me. This is a real place, a coffee place on a rooftop in Mexico City. And you can see this breathtaking view of this palace. It is the Palace of Fine Arts in Mexico. So that's a real picture, not zooming, not anything. That's what you're looking behind me in a coffee place in Mexico. So let's get going. I want to break the ice with you guys. We're a small group in here, but there's also people there in the Zoom. So what is I asked my friends and my colleagues, ex-colleagues that are not Mexican, what is the first word that comes to mind when I say Mexico? Anyone? Amigo. Thank you so much. That is super nice. Anyone else? Fiesta. Fiesta? Great. I was expecting that answer, huh? Anyone else? Cielito. Oh, I forgot to put that on my slides, but thank you so much. You were the first one to answer. This is for you guys. Thank you so much. So these were the top responses that I got, if you can guess. So let me see. I'm going. Who wouldn't say tacos? Guys, if you haven't tasted a taco, you're missing out. Huh? It's colorful. We are colorful. My presentation, my country, everything is colorful, right? Hardworking. I'm sure you must know people from Mexico that are working here, and they are hardworking, good people. Yeah? And something very nice, he said amigos, is something like nice people. They say that we are nice people. We like hospitality, so we like to make friends. We like to talk a lot also. So that was very nice to hear. So thank you so much. We start like that. So Aline asked me if I wanted to speak about the history of Mexico. So I will go through history of Mexico. Where do we come from? So Mexico through time. So pre-Hispanic era. Before the new land was discovered, before the Spanish came to Mexico, this era was called pre-Hispanic era, right? Or this moment in time. And the territory, which is now Mexico, was part of Mesoamerica, Middle America, right? And many cultures lived there. Several indigenous civilizations lived there previous to the Spanish. The earliest that we have in Mexico is the Olmecs. I don't know if you know them, but they are as far as the 1500s before Common Era. And they are known because of these big stone heads of the rulers. Another civilization that I can talk about is the Mixtec. The Mixtec were located in Oaxaca, also a very ancient civilization. And we know about them because of their codices, their manuscripts that are very picturesque, with a lot of pictures, with a lot of colors. Of course, the most famous, the Mayan, you must know, in the Yucatan Peninsula, very old civilization as well, and they go through Guatemala and Belize as well. This is not very well known, the Toltec, but they were also very early civilization. They were militaries, and they influenced some of the other cultures in their territories. Another beautiful civilization was the Zapotecs, and you must know them because of Monte Alban. Monte Alban is an archaeological site, very popular in Oaxaca, and it has a huge plaza, it has a lot of pyramids and a lot of ball courts. And they are very well known also for their experience in writing. Teotihuacan, this is a wonderful portrait of these cultures that lived very long time ago. It's very close to Mexico City. We have the pyramid of the moon, of the sun, and an avenue of the dead that connects everything. It was one of the most important and advanced cities of the ancient world. And finally, the Aztecs. And these are not all, but I am just mentioning a couple. The Aztecs or of the Mexicas that they installed, they were warriors actually, and they established themselves in what is now Mexico City, in the Lago de Texcoco. And we can see the remains of that culture underneath Mexico City, because that was destroyed by the Spanish, and underneath you can see the Templo Mayor, or you can see floating gardens in a place called Xochimilco, and that's from the time of the Aztecs, or even the calendar, no? The sun calendar that is in our National Museum of Anthropology. So just to let you know, there are 194 open archaeological sites to visit in Mexico, but there are over 45,000 registered. That is how rich our civilizations were at that moment. They have been registered and they are still being studied. These are some examples of these sites that are open to the public. Bonampak, with these beautiful, colorful, also murals. Chichen Itza, you know, the serpent that aligns perfectly with the equinox. Cholula, you see there a church, but underneath that church, in the mountain, there is a pyramid, a very large volume pyramid, very tall. We see other civilizations. I already spoke about Monte Alban, but we can also speak about Palenque, for example, cities that are in the middle of the jungle and that have a spectacular architecture. El Tajín, look at the difference in the pyramids, with these niche pyramids. So I picked some of the archaeological sites, and you can see that they are all different, but they are all magnificent, and they are all across the country. So that is to say about the indigenous background of Mexico, but I will come to Spain. So eventually, the New World is discovered by Christopher Columbus in the 1592, and the Spanish the Spanish crown was ruling at that time, and they were very powerful. What they wanted? Territorial expansion. So with the New World, they tried to go and expand themselves. Of course, they want to spread Christianity in the new lands. And one thing that is very important, wealth and power. They knew that there was gold, silver, and minerals that would make them rich or powerful in Europe, right? So they sent this guy. This is a soldier, Hernán Cortés, and he was very intelligent because he did alliances with the indigenous groups. There are groups like the Tlaxcaltecas that they weren't so happy with the Aztecs. So he allied with these groups and fought the Aztecs. Of course, the Spanish also had military advantages. Why? Because they brought horses, they brought helmets, they brought swords, steel swords, and this wasn't used by the indigenous groups, right? And they brought diseases. So the smallpox didn't exist in the new land, and that's why it weakened the population. So that was not easy, but it was easier for him to conquer the new land, or to conquer this part of the territories. No? Many viceroyalties were created. That's what they were called. The viceroyalty that was part of North America, Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Central America was called Viceroyalty of New Spain, and it lasted around 300 years. One important thing that happened is cultural mix. Different from other European colonies, the Spanish did mix and marry people from the new land. And that became something that turned out, that's what we come from. We come from these 16 core racial categories, depending on where you were born and what race combined with which was the category that you belonged to. The Spanish brought also many things. They started building military buildings. They started building churches, open chapels for mass, aqueducts to transport the water. And we have very beautiful and well-preserved cities of that period, of the colonial period. These are some examples. These are pictures of cities of colonial influence. Morelia, San Miguel de Allende, Puebla, Mérida, Guanajuato, Zacatecas, Oaxaca, Querétaro. If you can see, they are churches. They even had, for example, in Mérida, there are a lot of haciendas. They also had large states where they had plantation, ranches, or even mines. So the Spanish, of course, mixed. The Spanish brought architecture, brought religion, and brought all these beautiful cities that you can still visit in Mexico. So at some point, this mixing, this guy, he's a priest. He was a priest. He was actually, his parents were actually Spanish, but he was born in the New Land. Of course, there were a lot of injustices. There was a slavery, and they had to pay a lot of money to the Spanish crown. So at some point, the new people in this territory start an independence, a movement to get the independence of Spain. And that's why we celebrate our Mexican Independence Days. This happened in the 1800s. In 1810, Miguel Hidalgo did the proclamation or started the war. He didn't finish it. He died before that. He got killed before that. But he started. That's well known. And our independence is on September 16th. It's not the Cinco de Mayo. Who thought it was the Cinco de Mayo? Guys, no, it was not Cinco de Mayo, it's September 16th, okay? Cinco de Mayo is another story. So, on the 1800s, so after the independence, we had a lot of intervention, foreign interventions. There was a lot of difficulties politically and economically. And at some point, this guy, Antonio López de Santana, ruled several times Mexico. And in those times, he fought the United States. And that is the story when we lost, sold, or whatever, half of our territory in the north part, which is Nevada, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, even part of Wyoming and Utah. We lost it to this guy. He lost the war against the United States when they were trying to expand. When the independence was proclaimed, by the way, Guatemala and Belize and the other central part decided not to be Mexico. So we only got left this territory and half went to the United States, the Americas. Hopefully not anymore. In the 1800s, Benito Juárez, we also had a president that came from indigenous roots. He was the governor of Oaxaca. He was the president of the Supreme Court, and he became a president of Mexico. But he was a liberal. And he started making a lot of reforms, political and economic and even religious. And the conservative didn't like this. So they went to Europe, and at the moment, Napoleon III was ruling Spain. So they said to Napoleon III, hey, you want to stop the Americans to go southern or their influence in the New World? Maybe it's a good idea that you convince someone and you make an empire in Mexico. So they convinced this guy, an Austrian guy, Maximilian, to come and be a second emperor of Mexico. With his wife, Carlota, they came and ruled for a couple of years Mexico as emperors. From this time of them, both the American intervention and the French intervention, I would like to show you some pictures about something that is in Mexico City. This is the Chapultepec Castle. It's up the hill. It was actually built for the viceroyalty in Spain, but then it became a military school, and there we lost a battle against the US, but there was the residence of the emperor when the French were there. And actually a very nice avenue in Mexico called Paseo de la Reforma now, but it was called the Promenade of the Empress, was built to connect the National Palace to this castle. And still you can see this in Mexico City. It's a beautiful place to visit. So for the 20th century, when Benito Juárez died, because he came back as president after French left, then Porfirio Díaz became president. And he wanted to be very modern, to modernize Mexico. He started to building railroads, to have telegraphs, and to promote the foreign investment in Mexico. He was he loved France. He actually died in France and is buried in Paris. And And we have a lot of buildings, at least in Mexico City, with French influence. We already saw the Palace of Fine Arts. The second one is the Postal Office in Mexico. The third one, let me see here. It was going to be the Congress, but they only built that. So we have a lot of French influence because he loved the French. But of course, many groups were becoming very rich, but there was a lot of poverty as well, a lot of inequality. And that's why at the beginning of the 20th century, this guy come into the picture. Do you recognize who won or the one who? I don't have a prize for this, but it's Pancho Villa, exactly. And the other one is Emiliano Zapata. The one, of course, the one with in the north is Pancho Villa, who is fighting Porfirio Diaz, and in the south, Emiliano Zapata, and in the center, Francisco I. Madero. He was against re-election, and these guys had re-elected several times. Almost 35 years he ruled Mexico, and they were against all that. And that is why, in 1910, we had a Mexican Revolution. And that's all of history that I'm going to do today. But I'm going to continue with my point of view of Mexico, okay? So finally, just a couple of facts of modern Mexico. Our name is not Mexico, it's United Mexican States. Our population is 130 million people in almost only 20 million square kilometers. We are 12 million identified as indigenous, out of these, almost 10%, and 68 native languages and derivatives. Our official language is Spanish. Our religion, mostly, 89% is Christian, 78% Catholic. We're a democratic republic. We are the 30th world economy by our GDP. And by the UNESCO, in cultural things, we have 32 World Heritage Sites. So we are the 6th country in the world with the most heritage sites awarded by the UNESCO. So it's an interesting country to visit, I hope. So this is a fun fact of this, if you were to fit Europe in Mexico, 24 European countries could fit in our territory. Of course, our territory is not as big as yours, guys, but it's big. You can visit several cultures and many different things in Mexico, okay? So to start the second part of the presentation, second quiz, and there is a prize for this. Which are the top destinations that Canadians visit in Mexico? Don't say Cancun, that won't get a prize. Okay, good. Who? What? Puerto Vallarta? Okay. So these are all the destinations that were mentioned or that were visited the most by Canadians. So Puerto Vallarta, Cozumel, Mazatlán, Zihuatanejo, San Jose del Cabo, Huatulco, Tulum, even Acapulco, still Acapulco, Cancun, and of course Mexico City. Okay? But aside from Mexico City, what's in common of all of these things? All of these places? Exactly. They are beach, and of course they are lovely. But I want to show you more than beach. I already show you colonial, but I want to show you more of Mexico than beach. Just let me give you a prize. Thank you for Puerto Vallarta. So what is really Mexico? And this is my point of view. I was thinking, what is really Mexico? So Mexico for me is places, no? So aside from big cities, from these colonial cities that I already showed you, I want to tell you about this program. So 20 years ago, the government, the tourist office, decided to promote a program that is called Pueblos Mágicos, magical towns. So all of these are 177 magical towns that are in Mexico. So these are recognized, these are unique charm, cultural richness, or historical significance. So they are close to capitals, and they are towns that are worth a visit, and they are very colorful. They have something unique that you mostly enjoy. So I did some looking into my pictures, and these are some of the pictures that I have taken because I am a fan of Pueblos Mágicos, and I am missing a lot, I have to admit. So here we can see Tepoztlán. This is Chiapa de Corzo in Chiapas. This is Chiapas as well. This is Tapalpan. And these are my friends, Jen and Peter. They are Americans, and they live in a place called Ajijic. I don't know if you have heard of that, but this is one of the top destinations to live for Canadians and Mexicans in Mexico. It's located in Jalisco, and they have been living there for 7 years now, and they are super happy. Ajijic. Ajijic in the Lake Chapala Lake. If you want some more information, I can even introduce you to my friends. And this is Valle de Bravo, Huasca, and this little girl is my niece. She's not that small right now, but this is Peña de Bernal in Querétaro. So these are some of the pictures that I have taken through time of the Pueblos Mágicos for you to see. And next, Biosphere Reserve. This was surprising for me also. And the biosphere reserves are protected areas that the UNESCO and other organizations try to demonstrate and protect to balance biodiversity with population, with human development. And in Mexico and Canada also are top of the 10 countries that we have the most biosphere reserves in the world, across the country also. What you can see there, and they are open for the public to see: waterfalls, desert, of course the ocean, pink flamingos, the monarch butterflies that are very famous, the whales. So these are places that can be visited if you like ecotourism or like a lot of nature. These are wonderful places with beautiful sceneries that you can take a look. So that about places. For me, Mexico is also all about folklore. And folklore means dances and singing and cielito lindo, as he said. So these are folkloric dances. This is the Little Man dance. There is a typical dance from Michoacán, and a dress also, and the beautiful dress. We have a lot of folkloric dances, regional dances. They're very rich in all the different cultures that we have. This, of course, you know, the cielito lindo singing. If you see a sombrero anywhere, you would say that we are Mexicans, of course. And these I love, the regional costumes. These are hand-embroidered dresses. This is my favorite, the Tehuana dress. It's from Oaxaca. And look at this beautiful thing that she has in her house. And that's something that is very trending, performances. Do you know who this is? Lucha Libre, exactly. So this is a sport. These guys dress up with these colorful masks, and they wrestle in a ring in front of hundreds of people that they go wild. It's unbelievable, it's super funny. Everyone that goes, women, men, kids, go wild looking at these guys like all over the place. So I think it's part of our folklore now. How fast am I going? No, I still have time. So Mexico is also food. I don't know if you know, but Mexico has been awarded as the Mexican cuisine as the intangible cultural heritage because it is so rich with all the ingredients, so colorful, with all the meanings. And of course, guacamole. Did you know avocado was brought from the new land to all the world? But in Mexico you can have all kind of food. You can have tacos baja, which is fish tacos. You can have burritos in the north part of Mexico. In the north part of Mexico, you can have carne asada, which is meat, wonderful meat. Birria is lamb soup, is like lamb cooked in soup. In Mexico City, if you haven't had a tacos al pastor, please do. I haven't found in the world a place where I can have a very good taco al pastor. My boyfriend likes tacos al pastor here, I don't. You have to go to Mexico City to have a taco al pastor because it's delicious. And my two personal favorites, mole, which is made of chocolate and seeds, and cochinita pibil in the Yucatan Peninsula that actually comes from indigenous roots, but changed the deer to pork when the Spanish came. So if you like to know more about cooking, about the cuisine in Mexico, this is an adult movie, but it's Como agua para chocolate, like water for chocolate. This is a very good movie that portrays north part of Mexico, the traditions, how were families in the revolution time, and what is the meaning for us of food, of family, of flavors. So this is a very nice movie to watch. I think it's in HBO right now, so you can take a look at that if you want to know more about food. Mexico for me is also art. There are renowned artists. Who knows her? Frida Kahlo, of course, and this painful and very emotional. The second one is the portrait of Dr. Atoll. He used to paint volcanoes, very, very colorful volcanoes. We have, this is not a painting, but it's a mural actually, Siqueiros mural that is very powerful. And this is not Mexican, she's Spanish, but she came to Mexico in the Civil War, and that is why she brought the surrealism to Mexico at the beginning of the 1940, something like that. And she's Remedios Varo. If you like to know more of art, we have a lot of artists. But for me, art is also something made out of hand, right? The handcraft. Mexico has colors even in everything that we do. The shawl, the zarape, is actually worn by men in the north part of Mexico. The sombrero is also art. These woven wicker baskets, the blue one is the Talavera ceramic pottery from Puebla. We have indigenous art as well. This is a fabric doll from Querétaro, and my personal favorite is the Shakira beads that you can do necklace, bracelets, and even ornaments, very delicate, from Michoacán. So I really consider, and I have been, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I have been in other parts in Latin America, and I really think Mexican handcraft is very nice, very beautiful. No? And we have traditions. Did you know? I think Montreal was full of this last week. Our most cherished tradition is the Day of the Dead. We celebrate life with that. We remember our loved ones that have passed away. So what do? We set up altars that we call ofrendas. We put pictures of the people that have left. We put their favorite food because we think that they are coming for a short visit on November the 2nd. We put candles, water, salt to ease their journey to come to see us. And it's a beautiful celebration of life. Remember, we also, something that I love is pan de muerto. It's a very sweet bread. We only have it in November. And we also write poems, where the funny poems that portray the dead looking for living people and making jokes about the funny people. It's called calaveritas. So if you want to know more or see really what is the tradition, this picture from Disney Pixar, Coco, it's a beautiful representation of the whole idea, and it makes us nostalgic of our roots, of our people. So it's very nice to see if you want to watch it. And the one that's coming, this is an informal one. We call it Guadalupe Reyes Marathon, and it means that we eat all the festivity long, and it lasts like 2 weeks. So it starts on December the 12th. On December the 12th, we celebrate the apparition of Our Lady of Guadalupe. That's what it calls Guadalupe. And we start eating, and we start having gatherings with friends and families that start actually on December the 16th. And on December of 16th, we have 9 posadas. And these represent the stops that Jesus and the Virgin Mary did looking for a shelter for Jesus. So we are a Catholic country, we do these posadas, we have piñatas, we drink warm fruit punch, and at the end, after all the posadas, we have Christmas Eve, a lot of eating. We celebrate more Christmas Eve than Christmas. Then we have Chris, we call it recalentado because we warm up the food that we had previously, so we keep eating. And by the 6th of January, we celebrate the Three Kings with this galette de roi in France, that's what they call. In Mexico, it's a little bit different because it doesn't have this Nutella or thing in the middle. but we celebrate the kings in 16. So we keep eating and eating and eating and enjoying friends and family. And also, and just a little, yeah, I'm almost wrapping up this. Mexico is passion. And when I speak about passion, I want to speak about our people. So we are dedicated to our goals, we work very hard, and we turn our dreams to reality. I don't know if you know some of these guys. If you are a car person, Jason is not, but the car person, this is a Formula One champion, Checo Perez. Of course, maybe you know Salma Hayek, actress. These three guys are Mexican directors. They have won the Oscar, and actually Guillermo del Toro is right now having his Frankenstein in Netflix. Have you watched it? No, they say it's very good. I like the previous one because he tries to show you monsters as persons or as natural or as human. So you have a different point of view. It's a very interesting movie. I put Osmar Olvera, he's a rising star in diving because I love diving and that we are very good divers in Olympics and all our world championships. And the previous championship, he won against the Chinese that they are very, very good in diving. So we have a lot of people, a lot of champions in diving. Canelo Perez, he is from boxing. We are very well known as boxers as well. Isaac El Toro, he's right now in trend because he's the first cyclist that has been winning. And Lorena, mi tocaya, my same name, she is a Tarahumara indigenous origin, Raramuri, that's the name of her town, her people. And she runs dressing like that, wearing her sandals, and she wins ultramarathons, 50 kilometers with her sandals, with her traditional sandals. She has a Facebook page, so you can go. They live in the up north in Chihuahua, so they are very good runners. So they run just like their dress. And finally, last quiz for a prize. No? Never believe a Mexican when we say ahorita. That was a second good answer. That was a second. Ahorita means just right now. It would be now, never, tomorrow. You will never know when you said. But it's not that is the response. But that was a very second good answer. No? So no pica. It's not spicy. We will always feel that everything is not spicy and it might be spicy. Can you? Yes, I will. So this is for you. Thank you. That was a very second answer, very, very good response. So that is all for me today. I think I hope that my contribution today is for you guys I share my love and my passion for my country. So, gracias, thank you, merci. These are my contact details.